My name is Chris Chichester. I live at 26 Sanders Farm Drive in Penfield. I've lived here for 9 years. And I contact the attorneys at Barclay Damon in Rochester to detail the abridgment of my civil and constitutional rights by Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, Penfield Town Court Judge John Lomenzo, and Penfield Town Court Judge James Mully. I've lived at my residence at 26 Sanders Farm Drive for 9 years. And I moved here in 2012 with my then girlfriend, Laura. And we moved here from Webster because Laura was hired at the Penfield Public Library. So everything is normal in our life. And when you drive down Penfield Road toward Wegmans and Target and Cam's Pizza and the other businesses down there, you can see 26 Sanders Farm Drive from Penfield Road. And this is the parking lot next to our residence. Our residence is over here behind these trees. This is the parking lot right here. When Laura and I moved here, this business at 2025 Penfield Road was not here. It had yet to be constructed. And it was constructed in approximately 2013, 2014, or thereabouts. So this is 2025 Penfield Road that was built after Laura and I moved here to our residence. At 2041 Penfield Road, right next to it, was the practice of Dr. Gloria Nichols. She's a dentist. So I'll go about my normal day. I'll walk through this parking lot, just like my neighbors. My neighbors walk through this parking lot. My neighbors run through this parking lot. My neighbors ride their bikes through this parking lot. My neighbors with their children walk through this parking lot. I have run through this parking lot. I've ridden my bike through this parking lot. It's routine. It's ordinary. So I need to go to the dentist. And I walked through the parking lot one day and I would see Dr. Nichols. And she was so nice and friendly. And she would say, hello, how are you? Nice to see you. Just one of the most decent human beings anybody would ever want to meet, Dr. Gloria Nichols. So when it came time to go to the dentist, I picked Dr. Nichols because she's right over here where I'm pointing. And I can see everybody walking through that parking lot. Now I'm going to get to that. Well, I go to the dentist. I walk through the parking lot. Everything is normal. I live with Laura. Life goes on. So, this grass here next to my residence has no ownership. And when Dr. Nichols was at her practice at 2041 Penfield, there's no grass cutting behind or alongside my residence. And grass cutting today is done in a whole new way. Because when my grandfather cut the grass in Queens, he did it with a little mechanical push mower where he pushed it. And this thing that was probably from 1930 cut the grass in Queens. And I still remember it making this sound. And I would ask Grandpa about the lawnmower he was reusing. And he had it for about 30 years. So anyway, Grandpa used that mower. And then my father in Long Island, I'm from Suffolk County in a small village called Lake Grove. He would cut the grass in the 1970s and 1980s and would make a noise that you would expect a lawnmower to make. Well, there's a whole new way to cut grass where you are up on your tractor. And I've seen these guys in Rochester and on Penfield Road up on their tractor. And it's quite something because I'd like to ask one of these guys up on their tractor if they think they're heading toward a mountain in Afghanistan, if they're participating in a military operation. But if that's what they want to do on their own land, on their tractor, fine. It's their land, it's their tractor. Well, Dr. Gloria Nichols leaves and Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah move into the building. This is when my life is going to radically change because of Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah. I'm walking through the parking lot one day here, just like my neighbors. And Neeraj Shah is in his vehicle here. And he starts to scream at me inside his vehicle. I don't know why this guy is screaming at me. So I turn around and approach him and I say, "What's the problem?" And he's still screaming at me. So what I do is I give him the finger, I turn around, and he's still screaming at me as I walk away, and I tell him to go fuck himself. And this hurts the precious feelings of Neeraj Shah. So what Neeraj Shah does is he goes to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office and he tells them about the war crime of me walking through this parking lot. I have walked through this parking lot 4,000 times, just like my neighbors. Neeraj Shah goes to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and they do not laugh this guy out of the room and tell him he's an extremist, tell him he's wasting their time, tell him he's a repulsive, disgusting human being and get the hell out of our office and go back to 2041 Penn Road. That's not what they do. That's not what Sheriff Todd Baxter and his fanatics, degenerates, and sociopaths do. What they do is they go 2025 Penfield Road and then put this camera on 2025 Penfield Road. That's it right there. And a camera, of course, is called a surveillance device. That's a camera Todd Baxter bought and put on this building. This building here, 2025 Penfield Road, that didn't exist when my girlfriend-in-law and I moved here, Penfield from Webster, is for a business called Consumer Insights. And the person that is the president, that's what he calls himself, of Consumer Insights, is Elliot Roth. And that always makes me laugh because you're calling yourself a president of a business when there's 5 employees. So Elliot Roth works at this Consumer Insights along with Nancy Dooley and Rebecca Kerlack. It's not exactly a Fortune 500. So what Todd Baxter does is he puts this camera on this building because they're going to concoct a crime for me because of the war crime of walking through the Holy Roman Todd Baxter parking lot. On June 30th at Harris Whalen Park, they had the July 4th festivities. First, they had it at Penfield High School. I went to Penfield High School for the July 4th festivities, and it was terrific that day. And before the events at Penfield High School on June 30th, Penfield High School band students were walking through this parking lot in their band uniforms and carrying their instruments. And it was terrific to see these kids because I'm guessing that they really take pride in using their instruments and they want to be the best possible person on their instrument. And you just want to achieve excellence. And I really have a high level of respect for students in high school. I want to be in band and play an instrument. And they were walking through the parking lot, the Penfield High School band students in their band uniforms with their instruments. And it was just terrific to see these students in their instruments. And I'm going to get to that because they, just like people every day, walk through the parking lot. So what Todd Baxter does is single me out as the only American to be arrested for walking through this parking lot. And he's going to concoct a crime for me. So, after I walk through the parking lot, Neeraj Shah is screaming at me in his car, and then Todd Baxter fixes the surveillance device to 2025 Penfield Road. Suddenly, the grass cutting is done all the time. And they're here at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. And my neighbors have noticed that they're here at 7 o'clock in the morning on Sunday because my neighbor who lives right next to me said to me, "What the hell are they doing here at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday?" And that's because the people at this business, Consumer Insights, and at the Shah Law Firm are not there. They're not there at their offices. So I go outside one day and I have a confrontation with the man on his tractor when he's here at 7 o'clock in the morning because he woke me up. And he has this long ZZ Top beard. And I say to him, Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah don't own that land behind or alongside my house. And what the hell are you doing here at 7 o'clock in the morning? And he says to me, fuck you. Fine. He's exercising his First Amendment right. And I'm not offended by people telling me to go fuck off because I will use that language. So if he is cutting grass on land that has ownership, fine. But this is what delusional, demented Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah sent me. This is not a property title, if that's the correct word, or any document that proves land ownership. This is fiction. So I called the Monroe County Office of Real Property and I spoke to Timothy Murphy. And I said, do Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah at 2041 Penfield Road own the land behind and alongside my residence at 26 Sanders Farm Drive? And he was unable to confirm this for me. So I had this agonizing 2-minute phone call with this guy. And it was like talking to a brick. And I just kept saying to him, finally, in the last 30 seconds of the phone call, just tell me if they own the land alongside and behind my residence. Just tell me if they own that land. Do Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah own that land? Silence. And then I finally said, do Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah own that land? He hung up on me. So they don't have the documentation because this is not anything. This is fiction here I'm holding in my hand. And then the individual at the Monroe County Office of Real Property, Timothy Murphy, can't confirm it. And then when I spoke to one of Sheriff Todd Baxter's employees in there in 1984, Baxter's employee says to me, he, meaning Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah, owns that land. And then I say to him, they told you they own that land. Of course they're going to say they own that land. So I say to Todd Baxter's public employee, send me the documentation. It's not enough for him to tell you that he owns the land and you to tell me that he owns the land. And I accept that because you're descending on me. You fanatics, degenerates, and sociopaths are descending on me. And that's the language I use to him. And that's the language I use to describe the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Fanatics, degenerates, and sociopaths, because that's what it's doing in the concoction of 2 crimes for me. So I said to Todd Baxter's public employee, his taxpayer-subsidized employee, and I'm going to get to how I'm demanding salaries and they're refusing, send me the documentation. He didn't send me anything. So Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah don't have the documentation. Timothy Murphy can't confirm it. And then the person at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office didn't send me the documentation, which leads to, what are you doing here at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday on your 82nd Airborne Division tractor? So I have never committed a crime in my life. Here he comes. Right down here. That's the reverse angle. This is the angle from Sanders Farm Drive. This is Sanders Farm Drive. Here he comes, this guy. I see him from where I'm sitting. I'm sitting right here and I can see him because I work on my laptop, and this is my laptop, and I watch my television here. I look out here, I see him. I go outside. I stand right here. I'm outside for 30 seconds. I stand here for 30 seconds. He's over here on his tractor. I'm here. I say to him, I'm pointing. I know I'm pointing. I didn't know at the time I was pointing, but because of what I was subsequently shown, I know I was pointing. Sometimes you don't know you're pointing like I am now. So I stand him outside for 30 seconds. I say, they don't own that land. I'll walk back to my house. 30 seconds I'm outside. Steve Desmond is a civilian that works for Broccolo Tree and Lawn Care. And I'll show you the picture again. Desmond that day is walking alongside the man on his tractor. Desmond is here on his phone. Desmond's got his phone in his hand. The man in his tractor's got his phone in his hand. The man in his tractor sees me when I come outside. He gets off his tractor and walks away. Because his job that day is not to cut grass. His job is to get me to come out of the house. Steve Desmond, a civilian. Sheriff Todd Baxter is using this grass-cutting loser, Steve Desmond of Broccolo Tree and Lawn Care, to deliver 6 Monroe County Sheriff Office employees to my residence for being outside for 30 seconds. I come back inside, I sit right here. I'm watching Fox News because it's always on. And then I see Deputy Meyer run into the backyard and crash land on her face. There's Deputy Patty Meyer in my backyard dirt. Now I'm going to get to Deputy Patty Meyer before I tell you about the pounding on my door that's about to happen after she crash lands in my backyard dirt. This Deputy Meyer calls me because Neeraj Shah, after he got done screaming at me in his vehicle, he's doing the full Mel Gibson in his car, this guy. I speak to her on the phone for an hour, Deputy Patty Meyer. And she is not responding to my answers. And that's because my answers are totally irrelevant to her and that she's writing a warrant for my arrest, or she already wrote it before she spoke to me. So I'm speaking to her for an hour, and I had to take the phone and look at it a few times because of the bizarre, oddball way this woman communicates. Because she would ask me a question such as, how long have you lived at Sanders Farm, 26 Sanders Farm Drive? I would say I moved here with my then girlfriend, Laura, and I've lived here for 8 years. No response. And then she would say, do you walk through the parking lot next to your house? And I would say, it's routine, it's ordinary. I've walked through the parking lot 4,000 times. 4,000 times I walked through that parking lot because I go to Wegmans and Target and Cam's Pizza. And when I go to Gold's Gym, which I work out at Fairport, sometimes I'll go that way. And she doesn't respond to anything I have to say, Deputy Patty Meyer. And she is asking me questions such as, do you know Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah? And I say no. What's that have to do with anything? So this continues, this ridiculous conversation with this corrupt hack who is writing a warrant for my arrest for walking through this parking lot, but not any of my neighbors. So I'd like to know where my 14th Amendment right to equal protection of the laws is. When she's writing a warrant for my arrest for walking through a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times, just like my neighbors. This is the freak show of Todd Baxter in Penfield, New York, and throughout Monroe County, because he is a freak show. And I'm going to get to him being a freak show. This is no freak show like this guy. So I'm walking through the parking lot one day, and Elliot Roth is in the parking lot at this Business Consumer Insights. And he has this smile on his face. And he says to me, you're going to be arrested. And I look at him like he's the Grim Reaper. He should have had a scythe in his hand, this guy. You're going to be arrested? I've never been arrested. I've never committed a crime. As I sit here to this day, I've never committed a crime. I don't know what the hell this guy, Elliot Roth, is talking about. You're going to be arrested. And he said this with happiness. This is the type of human being that he is. You're going to be arrested, and he's happy saying this to me. That's because Elliot Roth at 2025 Penfield Road knows that Sheriff Baxter came and put this camera on his building after I had a confrontation with Neeraj Shah because Sheriff Todd Baxter wants my image and my likeness on this camera, also called a surveillance device. What's going to happen to me should never happen to an innocent American. Here he comes on his tractor. I go outside. I say they don't let him walk back in. I sit here. Deputy Patty Meyer runs into my backyard. Trash. There she is, laying in my backyard dirt. And as I had told Todd Baxter's employees, this woman is such an incompetent stooge that she can't even stay on her 2 feet, where she's losing her mind running into my backyard to abridge my civil and constitutional rights. And of course, she doesn't view it that way. And there's a pounding on my door. I open up my door, and there are 5 other Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees here. 6 of these public employees are at my residence here at 26 Sands Farm Drive for being outside for 30 seconds to tell this toothless ZZ Top loser that nobody owns that land. And so the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee at my front door says to me, "We just want to talk to you outside. We just want to talk to you outside." That's the first language I ever hear directly from a Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee, and that's a lie. They're lying to me at my front door. So I'm standing at my front door, and I hesitate. Because why are so many of them here? Why did she fall down on my backyard dirt? Show us the spot you were standing. One of them says. The guy's one of the 5 on my front door saying, "Show us the spot you were standing at." So I walk outside. I walk across my front lawn. And they start to surround me as I'm walking. And then one of them takes my wrist and puts it behind my back, and I'll go to handcuffs. This, in the delusional, corrupt, criminal universe of Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, is criminal contempt. This is the concoction of a crime for me, and that's the first one. I have never committed a crime in my life. So, there used to be a gym called PW Fitness across from Wegmans Food Markets at 2157 Penfield Road, and I would walk over there. And I've been going to the gym for 20 plus years. And at the gym, I avoid the gym psychopath. Every gym has the gym psychopath in different degrees. If you go to the gym, there, Barkley Damon, then you've seen these people. And it varies. They're the ones that want to use the machine when you're on it. And that's Jermaine Benton. They were the ones telling you to wipe down the machines, the germaphobes, just germaphobes all over the gym. Even though they don't own the equipment, they want to tell you to wipe down the machine. There are people that scream when they use the weights at the gym, and they act in other antisocial ways. So, I'm at PW Fitness, and when I'm there, I know when Jermaine Benton is there. Because Jermaine Benton can't control himself when he's at the gym. And I do my best to avoid him. But I still go about what I'm doing at the gym. And I never allow the gym psychopath to tell me what to do at the gym. And this day, gym psychopath Jermaine Benton is going to find me. I'm at PW Fitness. I'm in the back. It's a slower than usual day. I'd say there are about 10 people in there. I'm on the bench press. I do 3 sets of 10, and I pause 30 seconds in between. I count in my head. It's my routine I've been doing for years. I finish the second set of 10. I'm about to lean back and do the third set of 10. And up walks to me gym psychopath Jermaine Benton. And gym psychopath Jermaine Benton doesn't talk. He doesn't say to me, "I'd like to use that machine. Can I use that machine?" And sometimes I will get off a machine if someone's polite, if they want to use it for whatever reason. Because I don't have instant gratification in my life. Or if somebody I know at the gym wants to use the machine, fine. Jermaine Benton goes like that with his hand. I'm not going to acknowledge Jermaine Benton by getting off the machine. So I say to gym psychopath Jermaine Benton, "I will be 30 seconds," and I lean back on the machine. Because I'm using the exercise. And I'm not going to allow this ignoramus to tell me what to do with the gym because I never allow people like Jermaine Bettman to tell me what to do with the gym. I'm on the machine. I'm about to do my third set of 10. I'm going to be off the machine in less than 60 seconds. I lean back like this. Jermaine Bettman walks up to me. As I'm on the bench press, my back is on the bench press. He puts his left leg over me, his right leg over me, stands over me. I can see his outline of his small penis in his little tight-fitting shorts. He's standing over me. I'm looking up like this. I'm looking at his penis. So I begin to raise up like this to ask Jermaine Bettman, what are you doing? And Jermaine Bettman punches down like this. And my head snaps back. He starts to walk away. I have never believed in violence in my life, and that day I should have embraced violence to prevent what's going to happen to me. I'm looking at Jermaine Bettman walk away from me. And I'm thinking, walk toward him and retaliate because of what he just did, because this is a violent assault, and I can still handle myself at my age. So I'm looking at him walk away after what he just did, which has a witness. And I decided not to respond with violence. So the witness calls the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. I don't know exactly what the witness said, but they arrive about 20 minutes later, and it's Andrew Reale. Andrew Reale has been to my residence because of his parking lot. He knows me. I have dealt with Andrew Reale over and over and over, and I have seen him more than 100 times throughout Monroe County. And that day that he arrived at this now defunct PW Fitness, I had seen him probably 30 times that day. So he knows exactly who I am because of his parking lot. And Andrew Reale is going to put the screws to me with another concocted crime. Andrew Reale doesn't have Jermaine Bettman and me in front of him inside the establishment, PW Fitness, to say, tell me what happened. That's not what he does. Because Andrew Reale is not interested in the facts of a violent assault. Andrew Reale tells me and Jermaine Bettman to walk outside. We do, and there's his vehicle. There's his Monroe County Sheriff's Office vehicle. And Andrew Reale tells me to wait in the back seat of his vehicle. I do. Then Andrew Reale walks over to the front of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office vehicle. And then he's about 20 feet in front of it. And as this is a June day, the window is cracked, and I can't hear what Andrew Reale is saying to Jermaine Bettman. But Andrew Reale is coaching Jermaine Bettman in the concoction of a crime for me, because Andrew Reale is telling Jermaine Bettman exactly what to say to me. So I'm looking at Andrew Reale talk to Jermaine Bettman. Andrew Reale walks over to the side of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office vehicle with this violent thug, Jermaine Bettman. And then Jermaine Bettman says to me, I want to press charges against you. And that is how I am charged with harassment second. Sitting in the back seat of Andrew Reale's Monroe County Sheriff's Office vehicle. I'm confident I'm the only American in the history of the United States of America to be charged with harassment second, sitting in the back seat of a police vehicle. So I exit the vehicle and I look at him. I tell him he's a disgrace. How are you wearing that uniform? How do you carry that weapon? Harassment second? Who am I harassing? I say to him. There's nothing from him. Gertrude Stein said, There's no there there. There's no there there with Andrew Reale. And I have told him that to his face. And I've also told him, I know you don't know who the hell Gertrude Stein is, Andrew. And he didn't. So I'm walking back to my residence and I'm looking at this ticket. That has my name on it, with harassment second. I had never harassed anyone in my life. Every friend, every coworker, every girlfriend, every single person that has ever met me throughout my life will confirm I've never harassed anyone. When I was in the military, the 2nd Squadron, 17th Cavalry, 101st Airborne Division. When I was an undergraduate student at State University of Stony Brook. When I was a graduate student at State University of New York at Albany. When I worked for Governor George Pataki. When I worked for Senate Majority Leader Ralph Marino. When I worked on Capitol Hill for Congressman Lamar Smith and Senator Olympia Snowe. Every single person who's ever had any contact with me will confirm I've never harassed anyone. And this ticket with the handwriting of Andrew Reale and my name says harassment second after this violent thug Jermaine Benman snapped my head back at PW Fitness. So I've never committed a crime. This is the corruption of Todd Baxter. He's fanatics, extremists, and sociopaths. Fanatic extremists and sociopaths. When I lived in Webster, Laura and I decided to adopt a dog, and wanted to adopt a dog to give a dog a home that nobody wanted. And we talked about it, how we wanted to go about that. And then we're going to go to Lollipop Farm Humane Society because they do such beautiful work in placing dogs in homes of people that want to adopt dogs. So Laura and I went to Lollipop, and we were interviewed. And it was an extensive interview, and it's just as extensive as a job interview, and we were approved. And it was just a terrific day, and you can only pick one dog, and we were talking about how we should take them all home. Well, we can't. So you can only take one. And this is in 2012, and we walked to the cages, and I said to her, well, we have to make some choices here, and I'm not getting a barking dog. I remember saying that to her. There's no barking dogs. I'm concerned about temperament. I'm not a veterinarian. I don't know if that's true. So we went back to the cages, and there's a ton of barking. There's a lot of barking going on there at Lollipop. So we walked by this one cage, and there's a little Shih Tzu, and he was sitting there. He's all by himself, and he's looking up at us. Please adopt me, Chris and Laura. Please adopt me. And Laura said to me, he's looking right at you. And they took him out. And, we went to his gym area, and we played with him a little bit. And we were approved this on the paperwork. We decided we wanted him. And that's my little guy right there. And his name is Alex at Lollipop. And when they told Laura and I his name, Laura laughed, because when I was in the United States Senate staffer on Capitol Hill, I worked with an Alex. He was an attorney, and his desk was right behind mine. And I used to say to Laura, this guy Alex, he's one of these guys that he asked him a question. He's one of these attorneys where you ask him a question, and all of a sudden you get the complete summary of Dred Scott. He's just going to answer the question. And here's my question. Here's the answer. Concise, succinct. No, you're going to get Dred Scott from him. So I said, no dog of ours is going to be named Alex. So he's named after former WBA lightweight champion Ray Mancini, otherwise known as Boom Boom, because he's a champion. And any of you attorneys there at Barkley Damon or boxing fans, you remember Ray Mancini. He knocked out Arturo Frias in just a thrilling fight. And Ray Mancini is the heart of a champion, and I like to think my little guy has the heart of a champion too. So I'm walking my dog just like I do every day. And I would take him alongside this land that has no ownership to the land behind my residence. That has no ownership because that's not a title or a document that proves land ownership. I'm doing this for 7 years, 4,000 times. So one day, the back window from the Shaw law firm flies open, and this overweight woman is screaming at me. Screaming is what goes on at this Shaw law firm and this Business Consumer Insights. I've never seen people behave in such antisocial ways. So I'm thinking, why is this woman screaming at me? I'm just walking my dog like I have every day for 7 years. So I bring my little guy in over here and I walk through the parking lot. I go in there. She's screaming at me. There has to be some type of dialogue. What is the problem, lady? I open up the door, and there she is, hunkered down, this deer in the headlights. She didn't expect that I was going to come over there. I said, why are you screaming at me? And she doesn't want to talk to me. And Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah, they are near in the back, and I can see them. And they don't want to come out either. Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah called the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and 2 vehicles are on their way to my house with animal control to seize my dog. This is why I refer to them as parasites. If they own that land, why don't they just come over to my residence? All I'm doing is walking my dog every day, the same way, for 7 years. These people behave in vile ways. Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah. So, I come back to my residence, and there's a pounding on my door. And as I now know, they just don't ring the doorbell or not. They're pounding on my door, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. I go to the door, I open it. 2 Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees there at Animal Control. Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee to the left, Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee in the middle, Animal Control to the right. The Animal Control individual has a pole in his hand with a noose on it. There he is standing there, the pole in his hand and a noose on it. A noose. This is my little guy, Shih Tzu, as I showed you. Where is the noose going to go? Is that going to go around his neck? Is that what that pole in the hand and noose for? Is that for my little guy's neck? I don't have a Rottweiler. So, there was this vicious confrontation at my front door. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office and these 2 employees that work for Sheriff Todd Baxter demanding my dog. And I say to them, you'll have to kill me to take my little guy from me. And they left. And when they left and I closed the door, I'm thinking, the guy on the left, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, does he have a dog? It's the guy in the middle, Monroe County Sheriff's Office, does he have a dog? It's the guy on the right, Animal Control, most definitely has a dog. That's what I'm thinking. He's working Animal Control, he probably have a dog, he definitely have a dog. How is it possible to show up at the house of an innocent American who is just walking his dog the same way he has for 7 years, 4,000 plus times, demand his dog and expect that innocent American to surrender his dog? This is why I describe the Monroe County Sheriff's Office of criminal corrupt Todd Baxter as in 1984. Because I don't believe that there is an American alive that would surrender a dog to the police because the police demanded. Because people love their dogs. If you attorneys I'm speaking to at Barclay Damon and you have dogs, you know exactly what I mean. You're just supposed to love your dog. That's the way it's supposed to be in this life. Because your dog loves you. So, Todd Baxter's concocted these 2 crimes for me. Harassment second, where there is no victim. How is it possible to be charged with harassment second, there is no victim? The only victim can be Jermaine Benman. He can't be the victim because my head was snapped back by him. By this violent thug, and I do not know if he has a prior criminal record. And I've been trying to find that out. Because a guy that behaves like an animal, and which is what he is, at the gym, in all likelihood has a prior criminal record. In all likelihood, I don't know. So I'm charged with harassment second. Well, I'm not harassing anyone. I'm charged with criminal contempt being outside for 30 seconds. So, both times, I did not hear Miranda versus Arizona. You obviously are familiar with the 1966 Supreme Court decision, and this, I believe, is the most important Supreme Court decision of the 20th century because it protects every single American. And it is the Supreme Court decision that will prevent the fanatical, corrupt police from destroying your life. So I have to go to Penfield Town Court. When I moved here to my residence in Penfield, my then girlfriend Laura was hired at the Penfield Public Library. And I would go over to see her because I would walk over there because I think about her and want to talk to her and be around her. And I don't know, when I would go to see Laura at the Penfield Public Library where she worked, that at the end of the hallway is Penfield Town Court. Penfield Town Court is at the end of the hallway with John P. Lomenzo Jr. and James Mully. A court inside a library. So, I have to go to Penfield Town Court, and the document for criminal contempt says trespass at the top of it. So at Penfield Town Court, 70-year-old John P. Lomenzo Jr. can't even get the concocted charge from Todd Baxter's fanatics, degenerates, and sociopaths consistent with the document he has his little library courtroom that says trespass on it. How am I trespassing on anything when I'm standing on 26 Sanders Farm Drive? So when I go to court, there's 70-year-old John P. Lomenzo Jr. And he says, Christopher Chichester, you're charged with trespass. I interrupt him. And he's startled and befuddled. I said, it's not trespass. How am I trespassing when I'm standing on 26 Sanders Farm Drive where I live? He has no answer. So I'll subsequently have to go back to Penfield Town Court in 10 days. And that's going to be the destruction of my life when I have to go back. But when I'm there in front of 70-year-old John P. Lomenzo Jr., I'm thinking, how the hell is this guy in judgment of anyone when he doesn't even know what the correct charge is when the document says trespass and the concocted charge is criminal contempt? So I ride my bike down 5 Mile Line to Webster. And when I ride my bike down 5 Mile Line to Webster, I go past Anatel Luster. Anatel Luster is where Daniel DeLouse III was observed by witnesses, neighbors, trying to entice children with candy or some other device to gain their favor, to get them into his vehicle, because Daniel DeLouse III is a child rapist in Penfield. And when I would ride my bike down 5 Mile Line, unbeknownst to me, I'm riding by Anatel Luster, where child rapist Daniel DeLouse III is trying to rape children. He is arrested by the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and he is brought to Penfield Town Court. And he appears in front of John P. Lomenzo Jr. 70-year-old John P. Lomenzo Jr. knows Daniel DeLouse II, and he doesn't recuse himself from the appearance of Daniel DeLouse III. This is the revolting, nauseating, sickening, corrupt existence of 70-year-old John P. Lomenzo Jr. This is who I have to appear in front of in Penfield Town Court inside a library. So I go back to Penfield Town Court. June 12th, I think is the exact date, but I'd have to look it up. I'm not guilty of any crime. I've never committed a crime. The prosecutor talks in court, am I correct? I go to the podium. Before I stepped up to the podium and they called my name, I made a decision that once that prosecutor begins to talk and she says anything that's inaccurate, anything that deviates from the facts, I will interrupt her. I don't have counsel. I don't need a lawyer. I haven't committed a crime. I'm not guilty of a crime. I have never committed a crime. So I go up to the podium. 70-year-old John P. Lomenzo Jr. is in front of me. The assistant district attorney from Sandra Dorley's Monroe County District Attorney's Office is next to me, and I look at her. I'm waiting for her to talk. Lomenzo says nothing, and she says nothing. There is silence in this courtroom, in this freak show that I'm in. And then Lomenzo just gavels the proceeding finished. But the prosecutor doesn't talk. The prosecutor doesn't talk because I'm not guilty of any crime. I've never committed a crime. I go in the back, and there's Monroe County Sheriff Office employee Andrew Reale waiting for me. Put your hands behind your back. He knows he charges me with arrest, but second sitting in the back seat of his Monroe County Sheriff Office vehicle. He knows about this day because I had told him to his face that his fellow employees at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office are a collection of sociopaths, fanatics, and degenerates for meeting me outside for 30 seconds. There's no there with Andrew Reale. Put your hands behind your back. I'll go to handcuffs after the prosecutor doesn't talk. Now I know I'm not going home. So I get to Monroe County Jail. And my dog is in my house, as I live alone now. I don't know what to do. As I sit there, I don't know what to do. And then I obviously make a decision that I have to go talk to a Monroe County Sheriff Office employee. And there's a man who's at the center of the jail, and he has a striking appearance, and he looks like he could be a Hollywood film star. He's about 6 foot, 190 pounds. He's got a bald head. And I say to him what I just said here. I told him what I just said here. And that someone needs to go to my house, and that I have a key taped to my back porch in the event of emergencies because my ex-girlfriend Laura put it there. I think it's still there. So I tell him this. And he arranged, this perfect man, for someone to come to my residence here and get my little guy and take him back to Lollipop because he's in the house alone. So I haven't committed a crime. The prosecutor didn't talk in court. Andrew Reale charges me with arrest for second sitting in the back seat of his vehicle there waiting for me. I'm deposited in Monroe County Jail with my dog being in my house, and I don't know my sentence. I'm told to go to a room to change my civilian clothes. So I'm in this room with the Monroe County Sheriff Office jailer, and he tells me to take off all my clothes and strip down naked, which I do. So I'm naked in front of the Monroe County Sheriff Office jailer. And about 10 seconds passes. Then I say to him, "Let me know when you're done staring at my dick." And he handed me my orange jumpsuit. So I put my orange jumpsuit on. And I went to my jail cell. I've never heard noise in a place like this before. So there I am, deposited in Monroe County Jail as an innocent man without committing a crime, without the prosecutor talking in court, without hearing Miranda. and I don't know my sentence. I'm in there with rapists, gang members, arsonists, and a man who murdered his neighbor in Rochester. The reason why I know this man murdered his neighbor in Rochester because I was told by another inmate at the jail. And then when I subsequently arrived home, as I am now home, I looked up the story in the Democrat and Chronicle. And I'm eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner with and alongside this man charged with murder. And there is his pictures in the Democrat and Chronicle. Todd Baxter does not separate the violent inmates from the nonviolent inmates, however innocent like me. I couldn't eat the food. When I say I couldn't eat it, I could not eat it. So I meet 80-year-old Bob. And 80-year-old Bob is in there with some domestic incident with a woman that he lived with. And he would bring me food. 80-year-old Bob. And 80-year-old Bob is the one that told me about the guy that murdered his neighbor in Rochester. So, how does Todd Baxter have an 80-year-old man walking around at Monroe County Jail next to the gang members with their tattoos and their fascination with talking about their crimes? That's the thing I learned about gang members. They love to talk about their crimes. They love to talk about their gangs. They love to talk about all the women that they have sex with. They love to talk about all their children. This is a totally alien universe to me. And I am asking every single day, how long am I going to be here and what's my sentence? No one at Monroe County Jail tells me what my sentence is. I do not know how long I'm going to be there. How is it possible to be delivered to jail when you're not even told your sentence? As I know you know, the sentencing laws in New York are a joke. Oh, he's going to do 8 1/3 to 24. Oh, is that right? 8 1/3 to 24. I thought a sentence was a sentence. Either it's 8 or it's 24, it's 10 or it's 15, whatever it is. Well, I don't know my sentence. I'm sure Todd Baxter would like to string me up for 8 1/3 to 24. So, I don't know how long I'm going to be there. And I'm protesting every single day. How long am I going to be here? And it would get even worse after that. And I'm not going to get into that in this YouTube. But it would get even worse. So, I'm demanding a list of salaries for everyone at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. And I've been demanding this now for 18 months. Registered mail return, receipt, certified mail, return receipt, sent to Todd Baxter, refused. The sheriff of Monroe County, Todd K. Baxter, is afraid to open his certified mail for me because he knows what's in here. Because I was bombarding them with these envelopes. Send me a list of your salaries at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office in jail. This is the corruption of this hack. His entire existence is tax dollars. I have foil after foil after foil. Send me a list of salaries at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office in jail. And he's refused every time, just like Sandra Dorley's refused. It's Elliot Roth. He says to me, you're going to be arrested. I'm demanding to know from him. Who told you, Elliot, I was going to be arrested? He refuses to open his certified mail from me. This guy is taking pleasure in this descent on my life, this repulsive descent on my life by Todd Baxter. And in here, in this envelope, I have a copy of what's in here. Who told you I was going to be arrested, Alan? He's afraid to open his mail. Neeraj and Layla Kumar Shah, I'm telling them you don't own this land. I'm telling these two parasites you don't own this land. Refused. Right there, certified, refused. You don't own this land. I was arrested for that grass-cutting loser coming alongside me on this land that has no ownership. And I'm demanding that they prove that they own that land. And he's refused to open his mail. Neeraj Shah again. Refused. Neeraj Shah again. Refused. I changed it. Layla Kumar. Refused. I have so many envelopes now, I'm dropping them. Layla Kumar. Refused. Layla Kumar. Refused. And then Michael Rather works in the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Michael Rather was a Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee for 20 years and he retired. He was a private citizen. Sheriff Todd Baxter rehired Michael Rather, and he now works as an assistant or a special assistant at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. So Michael Rather, in the employ of Todd Baxter, is a double dipper because he has his paycheck for 20 or 20 plus years as a Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee, and he has his current paycheck as a present Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee. This is the corruption of Todd Baxter. Michael Rather, double dipper. And on email, I have email after email after email, foil on Michael Rather. Send me a list of salaries at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. He refused, and he refused to open his mail for me too. This hack. When I worked on Capitol Hill as a U.S. House of Representative staff and U.S. Senate staff, I'd walk to the Russell Senate Office Building, and I'd walk by the Supreme Court, and I'd look at the Supreme Court, and I'd think about the history of it, all the decisions: Brown versus the Board of Education, Plessy versus Ferguson, Roe v. Wade, all the major decisions that have impacted the face of the nation. No one's going to confuse Penfield Town Court with the U.S. Supreme Court. No one's ever going to nominate 70-year-old John P. Lomenzo Jr. to the United States Supreme Court. John P. Lomenzo Jr. believes in humiliation. I go to the now defunct PW Fitness, Jermaine Bettman attacks me, my head snaps back. This is an order of protection prepared by John P. Lomenzo Jr. for me to avoid Jermaine Bettman. This is the sickness, the corruption, the fanaticism, the disgusting presence of John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Monroe County. Jermaine Bettman attacks me at the gym, my head snaps back. I do not retaliate, and I should. And this is the order of protection prepared by John P. Lomenzo Jr. for me to avoid Jermaine Bettman, and I refuse to sign. It says defendant refused to sign right there. So, I'm walking out of Wegmans one day through the parking lot at 2157 Penfield Road. And here comes Jermaine Bettman walking right toward me. And I loudly said hello to Jermaine Bettman. Hello, Jermaine. This is right after this was prepared. So if I would have signed this repulsive little piece of paper to avoid Jermaine Bettman who attacks me, I would have been in violation of it when I walked by Jermaine Bettman in the parking lot, the Wegmans Food Market, 2157 Penfield Road. So, this is my mistake, the one mistake I made that I regret. And I'm going to regret this until the cemetery calls. They're going to humiliate me again. Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah live right over here. I can see through the parking lot, 2025 Penfield Road. 2041 Penfield Road. I have never met Layla Kumar Shah. I have never met this woman. She's also 70 years old. She's the one that went to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office along with Nate Roger about me committing a war crime and walked in the parking lot. John P. Lomenzo Jr. prepared an order of protection for me to avoid Layla Kumar Shah, even though this woman lives less than 100 yards from me, where I'm pointing right over here, at the Shah Law Firm at 2041 Penfield Road. How does John P. Lomenzo Jr. exist with himself as far as morality and ethics and the ability to make a distinction between right and wrong and truth and justice? And he can't make those distinctions at all. So I have to go back to Penfield Town Court. And there he is with this order of protection. Not him, his court employee. If I was in the position of a judge anywhere and I wrote an order of protection for someone to sign, I would be there in front of that person. Well, his court employee tells me if I don't sign this document that they're going to bring additional charges against me or some such language for refusing to comply with a court order. I don't have an attorney. I don't know what to do when I sign this. I shouldn't sign this. This is my one regret. This is what they're doing to me, to Monroe County Sheriff's Office in Penfield Town Court, this Star Chamber. An order of protection for me to avoid a woman who lives right over here that I have never met. And that would change. I go to the YMCA here in Penfield because I love to swim in their pool. And one day, I finish swimming in the pool and I go to this area in the YMCA that has the rowing machine and the heavy bag, which I also use. So I'm on the rowing machine and I'm in this room. I'm rowing. And at the back of this room, approximately 30 yards away from me, is Layla Kumar Shah. So I'm rowing. It's Chris Chichester rowing at the YMCA, and I apologize if I'm speaking in third person, but I'm just trying to explain this accurately. So I'm rowing. And I'm ignoring Layla Kumar Shah, even though she's right in front of me. And after about 5 minutes of me being on the rowing machine, here she comes walking toward me. She's walking toward me. I'm looking at her. Why is this freak show walking toward me? I'm rowing on the rowing machine. And she comes up to me, and then she bizarrely, oddly, is pointing at some apparatus next to the rowing machine. So then I say to her loudly, "What's my name? You know my name." And this frightens her and startles her. And as she walks over, the employee at the YMCA, she tells the employee at the YMCA that I should be there. Even though I never met her. I go to the YMCA all the time. I walked in there. I didn't know she was in there. I'm on the rowing machine. Here she is. Order of protection, Layla Kumar Shah. He shouldn't be at the YMCA. And then the YMCA employee says to her, "I don't know what you're talking about." Because I guess no one knows what the hell this woman ever is talking about. This is what I'm next to. This is what I have to live with in my life. This is what Todd Baxter and Sandra Dorley, John Lomenzo, and James Mully have done to me. So I'm demanding their payroll. I'm demanding Todd Baxter and Sandra Dorley provide me a list of salaries. And I send a registered mail return receipt. That's registered mail return receipt for Todd Baxter's payroll. Refused. Again, registered mail return receipt for Todd Baxter's payroll. Refused. Registered mail return receipt, Todd Baxter's payroll. Refused. Registered mail return receipt for Todd Baxter's payroll. Refused. Registered mail return receipt for Todd Baxter's payroll. Refused. Registered mail return receipt for Todd Baxter's payroll. Refused. Registered mail return receipt for Todd Baxter's payroll. Refused. That one signed by Double Dipper Michael Rather. Registered mail return receipt, Todd Baxter's payroll. Refused. Registered mail return receipt, Todd Baxter's payroll. Refused. Sandra Dorley. Registered mail return receipt, Sandra Dorley's payroll. Refused. 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 Their entire existence is tax dollars. They're refusing to disclose their salaries. I have handled a public employee payroll when I worked in Albany and in Washington, D.C., and that is a difficult document to look at. Because then I discovered what my coworkers were making. I knew what everybody made when I looked at it. And I didn't give a damn about that because I just focused on my own job and what I was doing. If somebody was making more than me, then so be it, and work harder. So I'm demanding their salaries, and I have now for 18 months. They've refused every time. This is the corruption of Todd Baxter and Sandra Doyle. They're refusing to disclose their salaries. And Kyle Steinbach is the assistant district attorney who deals with the local courts. Chief of the local courts, I believe, is his title. Him and Ann Chase deal with the local courts. So I've asked him on YouTube, on email, and in a letter, what is the name of your assistant district attorney who stood in Penfield Town Court and didn't talk? Tell me your name. And I wrote it in the foil. And on the foil, it says, what is the name of the prosecutor? He refused to tell me. This is a public proceeding where my rights are abridged by fanaticism and corruption, where his assistant district attorney, where his colleague, where his taxpayer-supported public employee did not talk. And he refuses to tell me her name. Kyle Steinbach ran for Monroe County Court. There were 4 candidates. And he was in 4th place. I don't know why he was in 4th place. But I believe that there's a revulsion in Monroe County toward the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, and people in Monroe County were not going to vote for him because he worked in the District Attorney's Office. I'm guessing. I don't know because I didn't really follow that race. I saw the results in the Democratic Chronicle. So I'm asking him, and I'm going to ask him again. I will copy you, if you allow me to copy you, on it saying, what's the name of this prosecutor? She didn't talk. How is it possible to deliver to Monroe County Jail when the prosecutor doesn't talk? That's because John P. Lomenzo Jr. and Andrew Reale got together and decided I'm going to jail. 2 people decided I'm going to jail. There's no panel jury in the Star Chamber of Penfield Town Court. 2 people decided I'm going to jail. A 70-year-old pedophile protection rack for Daniel DeLaus III and a corrupt hack that charges me with Rasmus second sitting in the backseat of his vehicle. So I go to Monroe County Community College. I run a 5K. After the race, there they are, 4 of them. Monroe County Sheriff Office employees. This is Todd Baxter in Monroe County. What the hell are they doing here? This is MCC after a 5K. Here they are sitting around talking to each other. They're not out on the roads. As you know, the job of a Monroe County Sheriff Office employees is to police the roads. Here they are in a gym at MCC having a good time talking to each other, doing nothing. So, and where they also are at Wegmans Food Market. Here's one of them right here. I walked over there one day. Here she comes. She's alongside of the building. She's driving right out. May take out my phone. Click. There she is, right there. They're always over there at Wegmans. This is my Pulitzer Prize-winning money shot. So, my name is Chris Chichester. I live at 26 Sanders Farm Drive in Penfield, and I'm seeking representation for the abridgment of my civil and constitutional rights by fanaticism, hatred, and corruption.